mean, we're on time. There's that. That's all that matters. Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you for joining us. I think we're the last session, so we can take however long we want in this, which is awesome. I'm going to try to talk through this as if I'm not already a huge fan of Sunday to Sunday, but feel free to educate and elaborate more about Salai Factory Brands. I want to just kick it off and let you have the floor and giving sort of the oversight of your company and, the brands that are within it. And then if you can tell us a little bit about the thinking that went behind it, and how you've gotten to where you are today.
Yeah, no, I love it. Look, I think as an individual, and being an entrepreneur, you always start as an individual, right? But so me as an individual, I'm all about wealth and well-being of underserved communities, particularly that of Black and Brown communities. Um, I think the other thing that is extremely relevant for you guys and what this whole topic and session is about is I've noticed and observed the influence of the Black community transcend and drive the world, but yet wealth creation hasn't actually taken place there. So I think the other thing that drives me is leveraging the influence of these underserved communities in a way to build brands and businesses. And that's my approach for Supply Factory Brands as a whole. But I think Sunday to Sunday, as we narrow in on that brand, which is my baby and kind of the one that's taken off, but it was really about making, fitness and sports more accessible for women of color. I saw a stat that 40% of Black women weren't working out because of their hair. And that was just something that didn't sit right with me, right? I come from a family of athletes. My niece is a 13-year-old swimmer who unfortunately now likes boys. And so that,
Yeah.
it's top of mind, and I'm hearing the complaints and I'm one of those folks that I had to take action, right? We had to do something as a brand to solve for that. So it's really about how can we ensure that, when she's looking to lead a healthy lifestyle, right, and partake in fitness and sports and just anything where she sweats and feels good, that she's not worried about her hair, right? I want to take one thing off of her plate, and that's where Sunday to Sunday comes in.
I mean, huge fan, can't agree more. As I mentioned, I'm already a customer. I've grown up in sports my whole life. I did cheer, which is very much so hair specific in a lot of ways. I did track, I did basketball. So completely understand that sentiment. I mean, I have locks in right now because it's summer and there's water involved. Love the fact that you guys have an array of products for women who have textured hair, yes, but also textured hair within that, a variety of different styles. And you guys are just very convenient, I feel like, in that way. And as far as your selection goes,
Thank you.
tell us a little bit about some of the, I want to say challenges, but I really also want to say opportunities that there have been for you guys thus far, and thinking about the hair and beauty category. I know you started off with maybe a limited range of products, and now you've kind of expanded a little bit more. Potentially, hopefully, there will be more in the future as well. What has that been like for you?
Yeah, I think, we'll continue to innovate. That's part of our journey and our story. But, I think the challenge has been, like most startups, right? That top of funnel awareness and just getting the message out there. I think for far too long, the hair category particularly was driven by shampoos and conditioners, and ignored the fact that most women of color and women with textured hair do not wash their hair every day. So that is not the daily process. That's not the daily product. So I think we're spending a lot on making people aware of the alternatives of how to care for their hair and productizing that, right? Putting an actual product in their hands that they can use daily that doesn't look like a shampoo and conditioner. So that's
Mhm.
been a very new journey for us.
100%. Would you say, I'm sure research has been a component too. Does that look like what does that look like? Is it social listening? What have you picked up on what your consumers are wanting, or what have they said? How are you guys activating sort of like your research functions and thinking forward, and marketing plans, product plans, all of
Yeah,
that?
no, for sure. I mean, look, we do the qual quant that most brands do. But I think you hit the nail on the head. And anyone who knows me, I love social listening. I am on social like a marketer, right? I'm not on there to entertain myself. I'm really on there to learn. And I think we gain a lot of insight. So we spend a lot of time listening to not only our customers but potential customers online.
Mm-hmm.
Inside and outside of the fitness community, in the hair and beauty space, in just, other categories like new moms, right, that are going through postpartum and hair loss and things of that nature, and women that are at postmenopausal and having increased sweating, and what is that doing with their hair. So I spend a lot of time listening
Yeah.
socially, maybe obsessively.
All for good reason. I mean, I'm always a fan of brands who take the time, especially someone who's in such a leadership position as you are, to really go down and think about what's a better way to say it? Not grassroots, but really like basic way of listening to your audience and connecting with your consumers. It's inspiring, and I feel like it's a trend that companies large and small are continuing, or at least trying to lean into, because that sentiment, especially on social, can definitely make or break you as a brand. I know there's a lot of conversations that happened even last year from what brands were doing. So it's good to know that you guys have a pulse on that.
Yeah, I mean, Tiffany, for me, honestly, I think the big mistake, and I come from big corporate, right? I've led the billion-dollar brands, like a lot of the folks that are on this platform, and when you're at the grassroots, like startup level, you realize, F the brand, right? It's about community at the
Yeah.
end of the day. And great brands, they're not built, in our homes or in our offices. They're not built at a desk. They're built out with the people that you're looking to serve. And so, thank God we have social media, right? That's made it now a lot more accessible, a lot cheaper to be able to learn and build that community. So I'm grateful to the platforms that exist out there, and I think any marketer, any brand owner should be leveraging it.
100%. So speaking of platforms in that same vein, have you guys leaned into influencers at all? What does that program look like? I mean, again, different ways to work with them, whether you're working with like bigger ones, celebrity focused, micro influencers are all the rage, nano influencers, thinking about people with 1,000 followers like me. I'll tell all my friends about the products for sure.
Yep.
How have you guys leaned into that space, and what role do they play for you?
Yeah, I mean, we're leaning into it heavily, and I think there's a couple of ways that we think about it. One are certainly for awareness, right, and driving awareness of our product, our benefit, and just bring awareness to the discrepancies that exist for women of color when they're going into the fitness space. So that's been huge, where we've leveraged, larger, let's call it the 500,000 plus size influencers. But to your point, I see our consumption really coming from the nano, right, and the micro influencers that have these genuine relationships with their followers, right? I call it that anything under 50,000, a lot of the people that you're engaging with online. And I think a message from them means a whole lot more oftentimes. So we use that for a lot of our middle funnel and our conversion plays that I think have worked incredibly well. But admittedly, I think this is an area that we need to improve on as a brand and as a startup. We've just had our 1 year anniversary, and so it's like, yeah, we're growing, and that's well, but I think we need to go deeper, and I think the way that we do that is going to be through more of the micro and nano influencers for sure.
100% agreed. Would totally align with that thinking too, knowing where you guys are. Leans me into creative, very curious. On the creative side, like influencers obviously can play a huge role. They're what we leaned into last year as at-home producers themselves and content creators themselves that can, make stuff that's very much so high quality on behalf of your brand. But of course, you also have stuff that's coming out directly from the brand, whether it's living on site, emails, like all of that. Tell us about that creative process and what that looks like, especially given, I mean, I'm making the assumption that your teams are remote, but what does that creative process look like for you guys?
It's a whole lot of fun is what it is for someone like me, just to be honest. So I did something that we're seeing a little bit of the trend starting to trickle now here, especially in LA. But I moved from New York to LA, and I built a content house for the brand. So we shoot 90% of our content here. So we have a full gym facility. We have a full rooftop pool setting. We host yoga classes. We do Runyon hikes. We do it all here in the house. Every bathroom was curated for demos to be able to showcase different personas of our muses. So, I have every piece of camera equipment almost known to man, that is needed for a brand here. So, we're doing it all. We have full-time editors, full-time videographers, writers, etc. So we've leaned into being a content first business. And I think it's working incredibly well.
I'm gonna take that as an invite for us
Come on.
for the LA team at least. Sounds like an offsite opportunity for sure. I mean,
Definitely. We can
as
take that
long as
right there. There you go. That one.
nice, nice. So long as we're not stuck with the Delta variant for too much longer and all of that, and everyone's healthy,
Yeah.
let's definitely schedule something. I mean, that has to be a huge opportunity. Thinking about events and things like that. Were there anything that you guys had maybe planned this year, or are you thinking about events moving into the next year? And what did those perhaps look like? I have one that comes to mind, but I don't want to jump in.
Oh, I definitely want to hear. I want to hear the one that you have. But I think for us, we definitely we launched right before, well, we were planning on launching right before the pandemic, and
Mhm.
everything hit, and so we shifted. Right, we delayed about 2 months, just to get our plans in order. And so yeah, it changed fundamentally how we looked at experiential marketing and the events that we were going to do, and that was part of why we built a content house. Was to make sure that we can control the environment a little bit more, do it in a safe way, and I think that's allowing us to do more of these micro events. And
Mhm.
I think again, right, because of social media and the digital environment, you can have a micro, even a one-on-one engagement that can reach millions, right? And I think we're very cognizant of that, and curating it in a really smart way,
Yeah.
that I think pays dividends. So look, we have outdoor space where we can do that. We test regularly, and we find ways to get around each other in smart and safe ways, and obviously follow all the protocols.
Yeah. No, I love that. I mean, in
What
LA,
events are you talking about? I want
I
to
mean,
know.
I'm thinking pie in the sky. There's the Essence Fest of the
Oh yeah,
world. I know it could be
yeah.
highly competitive in a lot of ways, but definitely seems like a no-brainer. I see a lot of, at least the years that I've been, it's been like the offsite, like the hotel suite, sort of like intimate luncheons or brunches and things like that. There's a lot. I mean, you're in LA though right now. There's so many possibilities.
Oh, we got Richelieu Dennis right around the corner. So
Right.
I'm gonna have to tell him to give me a discount. See if I can get a friends and family price.
There you go. There you go. That's awesome. Want to talk a little bit about how far in advance? So thinking about planning and product innovation and thinking forward. Last year, I don't know if many marketers were thinking more than 4 weeks in advance. Right now, it might scale a little bit more out to 6 months. Some folks are already well into, Q2 of next year. How far in advance are you guys thinking about different plans across, like, again, product functions, marketing functions, all of that?
Yeah, I mean, like a typical venture-backed startup. So I mean, I go 5 years out. I'd say our innovation plan is probably more tightly at 3 years,
Mm.
as with our marketing plans. But I think there's so much variability, right? In the marketplace right now. And like I said, I think what we're doing as a really early stage startup is focusing in on community. So she's going to tell us what she wants, and where we're best suited. And I think that's where we'll go. We try to predict it as best as we can, and obviously build plans around that. But I think one of the easy things that just happened recently, right? We've expanded it, omni-channel much faster than I thought.
Mm.
So our growth rate is double where I thought we would be. Now that's a good thing, but that also means you have to shift your marketing plan drastically to solve for sell through, versus being just a purely D2C business. So,
Right.
we have to stay agile. And I think that's what is easier for startups than it is when you're a big machine, right? I can turn my small boat quite easily, versus somebody that has $1 billion business.
100%, 100%. In thinking that way, I know there's audiences on here, and definitely feel free to chime in with questions, you guys. There's a couple popping in already. That come from either a smaller organization or might be at what we like to say, a heritage brand, or maybe they're at an agency. Knowing that you have experience for both, what advice do you think translates into the role that you are now? Like, what advice have you had, or what kind of learnings have you had prior that have translated and helped you be effective in the role that you're in now?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I leaked it earlier, but again, it's about forget the brand, right? You really have to focus on community right now. And I think I'm seeing far too many people turn into product companies where they're just simply a product, and it's easy to do, right? It's very easy to build the infrastructure around a product right now, right? To
Right.
work on 3PL, right? To get these kind of basic blocking and tackling things, but that's going to limit and inhibit your growth. And you can see that in the venture capital market. People are having to raise far too much money because there's no organic lift. There's no community, there's no repeat. And so there's just a bunch of products out there. And I think the value comes in building a brand. And the only way to build a brand is to build a community. Um, and so I think I saw that as an agency owner. I saw that leading big brands when we're searching for growth. And I definitely see it being, a true startup brand.
Yeah, agreed. And I can see it. I like that thinking a lot. A question is, what does success look like for you this year? So that could look a variety of ways. I mean, as CEO, I'm sure you have some things top of mind, but again, success metrics have perhaps shifted a bit, and maybe more things are considered this year that they might not have been in previous years. What does success look like for you?
Yeah, I'll try to give more of a non-traditional answer, but I mean, look, the KPIs are the KPIs, so you're always going to track that. But I would say one of the things that's a real challenge, especially in this, kind of remote work environment, is culture, right? Making sure that the culture of the team is sound. We're rapidly hiring, and when you're a small organization and you change your overhead 25%, 50%, that's a big shift. When you think about doubling the size of your organization, culture is one of the things that I worry about the most. I say is, and just making sure we're all motivated, that we're also taking care of ourselves, right? It's very easy to overwork when you're working from home. And I learned that quickly. I mean, I have a 9-week-old, and she's been beating me up, and just trying to manage my time now is very different. But you're here in the house. So, when
Yes.
does my day stop? I might stop at 1 a.m. and then I'm up again at 5:30. Well, is that healthy amount of sleep? Probably not. Right. So I think those are things that I worry about across my team, and just making sure that we're having a results driven culture, but we're still having fun and the passion is still there.
Yeah.
Because I think our community and our customer, she feels that passion. And so we have to have it. And so I'm always checking to make sure that the pulse of the culture is solid.
Nice. There's the phrase working from home, but it turned into living at work, right? Like I had a minute. I was
Yeah.
like, that's how I feel. I have to physically take myself for a walk, like I'm my own pet, like go
Like,
outside.
that's why I have the Apple Watch, just to make sure I'm counting my steps, like move around.
Right. I mean, I think you're number 5, the 5th person to tell me that, like in the last 2 weeks. Like, get the Apple Watch. It'll hold you accountable. You can work with other people, right? Like connect and see like who's tracking on what.
Yeah,
So
definitely. 6,000 steps a day minimum. That's where I'm at.
nice. I like that. Let's talk a little bit about maybe innovation in this industry. Again, maybe not dispelling too much of what you guys might be working on, but I'm curious to know your thoughts on what you see as innovation within this hair and beauty category specifically.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's no secret I wasn't bullish on shampoo and conditioner, and I wasn't bullish on that because I felt that that was forced consumption and predictable scale, which I know is a challenge of a big brand, but that wasn't meeting the needs of the customer, right, of the consumer. And so our innovation is about meeting her needs. And what she's telling me is she really doesn't want to wash her hair, right? If you're a woman of color, especially if you have a lot of hair, right, and textured hair, drying time, right, et cetera, detangling, some of these things can take up an entire day, right? That's part of why our brand was called Sunday to Sunday. Sunday was this dreaded wash day, right? This day of reset that can take hours, right? And especially, I mean, you have locks in, that's not an easy process, putting in or taking out, right? And then you're going to go through a deep conditioner and et cetera, right? And all of these things, we're talking about a day process and a lot of money. So how do we care for her needs Sunday to Sunday, in between that wash care, and innovate there? And that's where the basis of our innovation sits. So that is making sure that, hey, I mean, I grew up in the church and I've seen women patting their head because their hair is itching and their scalp is itching, et cetera, for, my whole life. Well, let's
Yeah.
solve for the itch, right? Let's solve for that, because that's something that takes place in between washes, right? Let's try to extend out wash day. Let's try to make the detangling process a little bit better. Let's make sure that we're fending off humidity, right, and frizz and loose strays. Let's protect the edges, because she's going through where she's pulling up in buns or the tension from braids or locks. And
Yep.
some of these braids, I mean, they're heavy. I mean, I've
Yeah.
seen some braids go some ways. I mean, that might be 10, 15 pounds on the head. Um, that's a lot of stress on the edges. So, I spend a lot of time looking at that, and just trying to solve, right? Just trying to ease her journey, right? And make her life easier and better.
Yeah.
And that's where the focus of our innovation is, but it's really on that in-between wash care.
Yeah, I mean, that's so funny. I missed Sunday this weekend. So this happened last night. And I was even talking to Instagram. I was like, between emails and before this panel, can I get this done? And she got it done. So thanks to you guys. Thanks to everyone out there who supported me. It is a struggle. And again, I just applaud you guys for thinking about that ahead of time and being proactive and authentic in what you're putting out there. Of course, at the end of the day, you're a business, but I haven't seen a more authentic one in a long time when it comes to this specific category. So that's just, I applaud you guys.
Thank you.
Diving into some more questions. Someone wants to know, have you explored co-branded partnerships and are you open to them? Maybe you don't have to disclose any brands right now, but co-branded.
No, easy answer. I mean, absolutely open to it. I think the great thing is we play well with a lot of folks. There are fitness gyms that we play well with. There are fitness apparel brands we play well with. We play really well with the entire beauty and cosmetics because we're an added step, right? We're a step that was really omitted and we sit in white space. So if somebody has an amazing styling business, well, we're a great complement to that business. We don't do styling products. So I think we play well with a lot of folks and totally open to co-branded opportunities. So please, I mean, I'll make sure my email is here. Reach out to me anytime. I'm all for it.
I love to hear that. We got a yes on the spot. Someone's asking, what are you looking for in new team members, like skills? So I think it could be technical or soft skills that you're looking for in hiring new people to your teams. But what are some of those things you're looking for?
I'm a very simple hire. And hiring
You're like
manager.
vibe check, that's it.
It is a lot of that, right? Because I believe when if you put the right people on the bus, you can figure out where they sit later. So I think going into some of these technical skills, frankly, that's my job as a CEO is to set people up for success. So I'm really looking for people that are passionate and curious, because I think where there's passion and there's curiosity, you can figure a lot of this out, and not to make light of any of us in CPG, but it's also not rocket science, right? We're not, we're very rarely saving lives. What we're doing is we're listening and helping people. And I think as long as you actually love people, the rest takes care of itself. So, like I said, I look for curiosity and passion. And I think there's obviously a baseline level of intelligence. My team is far smarter than I am, so that's always exciting. But ultimately, their curiosity and their passion is what's driving them forward, and it's what's driving the company. So those are the hires that I look for.
Love to hear it. Awesome. Another question, what's your primary marketing channel right now as you grow? How heavily do you rely on any traditional channels like email, TV, direct mail?
Yeah, it's interesting. So we were heavily focused on obviously social as our channel, as our traffic driver of choice. Email and SMS have been really picking up lately, and I love seeing that diversification. The iOS update was rough on many of us. So I think that diversity is helping. Pinterest is also taking off, and it was something that I can't take credit for. It was not a driver for me intuitively, but I think the team has done a phenomenal job, and I'd say that's where our biggest community is sitting right now. I'm loving what's happening on TikTok, etc. But again, I can't wait to get back out, in front of folks and really do some real experiential marketing, right? Event-based marketing. I
Yeah.
think that'll be incredibly fun. But look, influencers and social will be, and for as long as I'm probably in the seat, the number one driver for us.
100%. I was thinking about Pinterest actually, because knowing, I think the brands that have the most success there are those that, I mean, translate into more of a lifestyle brand, which I think you very much so are. But also the design, the packaging is like key. It's just visual. So you got to look pretty if you're on Pinterest, and and you guys do. That's funny. Thinking a little bit about, okay, someone's asking, what wakes you up every day? What keeps you motivated?
You know, I'm an incredibly motivated person, but I'm also just like a West Point nerd, so my body just wakes up naturally fairly early. Um, but I would say right now I am incredibly motivated just from a teaching standpoint within my team and the organization. And certainly my nonprofit is a huge passion of mine, that's called Venture Noir. And it's really, tackling Black business health as a whole and as a focus, and things that we can do to, to lessen the impact of income inequality and the racial wealth gap. So, I mean, those things are so tied into my legacy and purpose that I'm pretty fired up every day. My challenge is actually like going to sleep. My
Mm.
challenge is on the back end of the day, because I'm just so amped, and I'm also naturally a night person with ideas. I have to really try hard to go to sleep. So living in California has helped in some ways.
I hear that. I hear that. I mean, I can't say that I'm a night person at all, but these days, again, working from home, I feel like my circadian rhythm is a little weird depending on the day.
Yeah.
Someone wants to know influencer metrics. What metrics matter the most to you besides reach metrics? So, I mean, you answered about the effectiveness of like micro influencers, but what other data points have been of interest for you?
I think it really depends on what type of campaign, and the objective of it. Because, like I said, we're dealing with influencers at various levels. So, some of those tier one, huge following bases, I'm looking heavily at reach, because that was the intended goal, and just seeing how much traffic is coming back, to our site. But other ones, I'm looking at shares, right? I'm looking at things that are just driving the virality, right? And are we creating, at that point, when you're dealing with some of the micros, like, are they creating content that can then be repurposed into ads? So
Mm.
I'm watching, like, what is the engagement on that? Is it greater than their norm, right? Is it getting more shares than what they have? Because I'm always trying to find the stickiness, right? What's giving us that thing that's making our brand really stick in the hearts and minds of the community that we're serving. So I'm surveying for that mostly, and I would probably say that above reach 9 times out of 10.
So funny. I mean, again, speaking our language, we sit in a space where it's been a combination of metrics for sure when it comes to influencers, but so shocking when we can actually show how effective a micro influencer, a nano influencer, or a non-Kardashian or non-celebrity type of talent can actually move the needle on some lower funnel business outcomes.
Definitely.
So I hear that, and it's again good to see someone in your position that is looking at it from that lens, and again looking ahead, because they're not going anywhere. Influencers will be here forever, y'all.
Sure.
It is what it is. Another question is, what advice would you give to other CEOs looking to build their own businesses? That's heavy. I mean, where do you start? I feel like you can go different categories.
Um, I think it is, one, find your rhythm and know that it's going to take a little while to get there. Uh,
Mm.
I've been an entrepreneur now, and I'll say a full-time entrepreneur for 8, 9 years. Um, and early on, it was really a challenge to find my rhythm, because the ups and the downs are just inevitably there. But I think if you can stay relentlessly focused on your purpose and your passions, um, it it's motivating, right? You can weather the storm. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I would say is just buckle up, enjoy the ride, stay humble, but make sure you have that grit and passion, and that you're doing it for the right reasons. I think the other the downfall of a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in the ones that are in our cohorts, part of my nonprofit, is they're very in-game focused, and therefore they don't enjoy the ride and the journey. And I think you have to learn to enjoy the ride as an entrepreneur. You can't be so fixated on like the exit, because a lot of times that's not in your control. But
Right.
that day-to-day work, a lot of times you can control that, and you have to find ways to make sure you're enjoying that and that it's fun.
I love that. It sounds like I know our CEO, he has a statement. He says, make work your leisure at times. It's kind of
Oh,
like if you're
yeah.
having fun doing it, it might not feel like work.
Yeah.
But to that same point though, what do you do to offline? So are there other avenues you lean into? Maybe it's fitness, maybe it's podcasts, maybe it's journal. I don't know if I don't know what it could be, but what
Yeah.
other avenues do you lean into to decompress?
I think, something about holding a newborn like automatically helps you decompress.
Yeah.
Because my daughter doesn't care about anything that's going on in my day. So that's one that I would say immediately helps. But like other than that, I'm just a lifelong servant, right? So those things, they don't feel like work, and I actually get great joy out of that. And I'm naturally, just an extremist, but I'm also um I think I gain energy externally, right? So I do podcasts, right? I have a number of shows. One, I do I Am Athlete West. I have World's Greatest Game. I have Raising a CEO, and those are things that I do. I teach at USC, and those are things that I do for fun. My nonprofit, frankly, is fun, right? So that's a way that I decompress, because it's actually not about me at all. um, when you're in those CEO seats, a lot of this stuff you kind of feel the pressure. Um, when you're leading a nonprofit, the goal is to drive impact externally to people that are not you. So I have so much fun on that, and can work on that, and all night, like, and not sleep, because I'm actually decompressing from the other side of my life.
Right. That, I mean, dream scenario, I think, when you don't have to think about it, it's just something that you're doing anyway. And it's ultimately beneficial. I'm a Trojan. What are you teaching at USC? What are you
Uh,
teaching?
Marketing feasibility, yeah. So over there at the Lloyd Thief Center, yeah.
Nice, nice. I'll have to drop by.
Come on, come on.
Make a thing.
Albert
Um,
Napoli. I teach mostly his classes.
who?
Albert Napoli.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
I was
him.
from the Annenberg School for grad school, so
Nice.
yeah, it's been nice over there. Wants to know, let's see, how are you engaging with colleagues in a remote setting? So maybe more into what you guys are doing together as teams to connect, besides joining meetings and everything together. How do your colleagues collaborate with one another?
Look, we did the little cheesy hangouts, right, and have happy hour or whatever remote. It was corny, like, you
I'm a
know.
huge fan, I have to
Look,
say.
we tried, but a lot of these folks may know me. That's just not my jam. So what we've actually been doing is pulling people up in person, and having some of those engagements. And we test and we do those things, and everyone's vaccinated on the team. So we've been having some, small, outdoor outings as a team. That's really helped. And so we try to do those every couple of months.
Nice. Okay. And someone else, what are you looking forward to this year? I know travel is a huge one, but it could be I want to say it could be personally, but also think professionally. What are you looking forward to this year?
I'm really excited about going in store, and seeing how our brand does on shelf. It's just such a big challenge and a shift on the business, and I think we've done well D2C, and we understand that business model for ourselves. But really looking at that sell through at a store level and seeing how rapidly we're expanding, um, I'm excited for it. I know it's going to be tough, but I'm looking forward to that journey, for us as a business. Um, and then I think, even looking forward to next year,
Yeah.
again, more and more events, I think, and engagements, and what we're doing with this platform with our community. That excites me. So those are things, I mean, kind of professionally, I'm looking forward to. Um, Personally, I mean, it's every day, right? I mean, she's gonna crawl next, and then she's gonna walk and talk and those things. So yeah, I look forward to just seeing her growth as a baby every day, and it's cool to see.
Do you enjoy, has anyone ever said a quarantine baby to you? And is that term offensive?
It is not offensive. I think all of us had maybe far too much practice time on our hands early on in quarantine, so it was inevitable. Um, but yeah, I will say one thing. I saw a meme actually the other day, and they were talking about how strong these quarantine babies are. Really are, like, they're like super observant, right? And like, she's lifting her head up faster than most. Like, she is just following eyes. You can tell she gets colors, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, slow down, ma'am. But yeah,
That's funny.
she's definitely a quarantine
Adaptable.
baby.
Quarantine babies. I mean, what, half of my friends, like probably 70% of my friends, I feel like are either knocked up, got knocked up, planning to, like all of that. So
Hey,
I totally.
play dates are the next thing. Anybody that's looking at investing,
I
invest in
know.
anything baby related. You're
Right?
making a lot of money.
That's awesome. That's so funny. Let's see. Want to share where we can find Sunday to Sunday products? Someone asked, your D2C is live, but what stores are you guys launching in?
Yeah, so you can find us at Sephora now, and there'll be a few more announcements to come out that I'll hold. But September expanding pretty rapidly on the distribution there. But today on our site, mysundaytosunday.com, and then on Sephora as well.
Nice. What would you recommend for first time, like purchaser, consumer trying out your products? Do you have any best sellers? Do you have, I'm sure it always is going to depend on a
It
couple of
depends,
factors,
it
your
depends on the
lifestyle,
person.
your hair type. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the universal product that I've seen, with all consumer types, all hair types, has been Root Refresh. So it's kind of our dry shampoo killer.
Yep.
Um, and I think it's just a pleasant product that helps detoxify the scalp. It's a light surfactant, so you get that cleansing, but it's just an easy on the go kind of refreshing cleansing spray. And I think it has a nice pair with a product called Revive Me. So it's almost like you're on the go post workout, post sweat shampoo and conditioner as like a
Yeah.
1-2 punch, but it's not going to break your style. It's just going to kind of cleanse your hair so you can kind of keep going. So I would say those two are my favorites.
I feel like I see bundles in your future, or like holiday gift sets. I feel like, I mean, can you curate your own boxes? That would be something. I can
I like that.
gift all of the women in my family.
Yeah, you know what? I like that level of customization. That's I think that's very cool. I'm writing that down.
We could brainstorm. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
I'm a fan.
get on the team. Let's do it. I love it.
That's funny. As a consumer, someone's asking, as a consumer, what brands are you keeping abreast with? So what brands are you, I guess, consuming or inspired by from their marketing efforts? You could take that question.
Yeah, look, I'm a fan of the startup space, so I watch heavily. I think what Melissa Butler is doing over at Lip Bar is great. Olamide with topicals, Minted, the work that Kim's doing over. There's just so many amazing brands. Rodney Williams, my buddy, just launched My Johnson, right? Like in the male category space, which I think is just funny and cool in the work that they're doing there. So I mean, so many of those startups, because I think that's where you're seeing the energy,
Yeah.
you're seeing the excitement and the passion, and they're doing an incredible job. I think some of the big brands, look, they're big brands. They're doing what big brands know how to do well. But I think some of the best things that they're doing is acquiring small brands with these with these amazing communities and passion.
100%. Totally agree. Hey, Chris, appreciate this conversation, Keenan, for
Ah,
sure.
thank you.
Thank you for putting your information here. We'll keep an eye out. I'm hearing September is going to be something pretty big. And then I can't imagine holiday is small by any means. So we're excited to see what you guys have coming up. Thank you for
Small but
joining
mighty. Thank you.
us.
Appreciate it. This was great.
Thank you so much, Keenan. Congratulations on all your success, and even bigger congratulations on your baby girl.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
We'll chat soon.
Bye.
Thanks so much, Tiffanie. Really appreciate it. All right, so we've reached that point. Thank you so much to Keenan and Tiffanie for closing out our day on influencer marketing. We'll be back at it again next month on September 2nd for our NIL Summit, a special edition of Brand Innovators series focused on NIL, which stands for name, image, and likeness. For those of you following it in the news, on July 1st, collegiate athletes, for the first time ever, were given the ability to monetize their NIL. Our virtual conference will feature brand marketers, collegiate athletes, and experts on the new and exciting NIL landscape. Also join us on September 23rd for another edition of Influential's livecast sessions with Brand Innovators. We also hope you will all join Brand Innovators tomorrow for the Future of Personalization Summit, hosted by 7-Eleven at 3 p.m. Eastern. They will be joined by marketing leaders from 7-Eleven, Marriott International, Wells Fargo, and many more. Thank you for joining, and we hope to see you again soon.